Hello, everyone. Hopefully, everybody can hear me okay. I did some new things to my audio. So, well, hey, it's March, and we are here at another Power Hour. Hope everybody's doing great. Got some good vibes going in the chat. So, we've got a lot of regulars, but if there's anyone new who has not been to a power hour before, please let me know so I can kind of give you the welcome and let you know what we're all about here and explain kind of what's about to happen over the next hour and a half or so. So I saw here we got some folks in the house. Ukweli, good morning from Maryland. Yes, LAG Studios, morning from Sweden. All right, good morning from Sweden. Awesome to have you here. And RG, morning from Germany. Got a lot of people from Europe here today, which is exciting because I'm going to be in London in like a week. So if anybody is going to be at the London Book Fair, come find me. I'll be at the Ally Alliance of Independent Authors booth. I would love to meet all of you. I'll only be there on Tuesday, but if you're there, please let me know. So, okay, Okesh, good morning from or afternoon, I should say, from the UK. And Lou is here. Hello, Lou. Syndratic, good morning. And Ty is here from Colorado. I got to meet Ty. We got to spend some time together at Superstars. That was a lot of fun. So good to see you, Ty. And Hunter is here. Hi, Hunter. And Okesh, better put the kettle on for some tea. Awesome, awesome. And yes, LAG Studios, thank you so much for the super chat. It says, I went from writing 250 words a day and hating every single second of it to 2,000 words a day and breezing through the 1/3 mark thanks to your book on pantsing. 10 out of 10 book. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And the success is all yours. That's fantastic. That is an amazing breakthrough. So everybody, please give a hand to Yes, LAG Studios. That is awesome. And if anybody doesn't know, my pantsing book is available on YouTube. You can listen to it for free. All right. And Jonathan, good morning, Jonathan. Good to see you. And very, very awesome. And let's see. Oh, Blester Messi, congrats on funding your Kickstarter in 1 hour. Thank you, Blester Messi. Yeah, so in fact, that's a good segue. But actually, I'm gonna put a pin in that segue, and we'll come back to it. Never done that before. Okay, so let's see here. Steve, thank you. Videos are terrific. I appreciate it. And Lou says, I had a goal today until my boss called me, and now I have to get ready to go into the woods in time for defrost. Okay, well, hopefully you can meet your goals, whatever those are. Never good when you get a call from your boss, I suppose. So, okay. So, I am drinking. We got to talk about what I'm drinking because I always ask you guys questions and I never answer them for myself. So I'm doing something a little different today. I'm drinking coffee, but I put chocolate milk in it. And I'm not sure how I feel about that right now because it tastes a little weird. It doesn't taste bad, but it's just a little different. I ran out of regular milk. And so I was like, oh, I got some chocolate milk here. Let me throw this in there. I don't know if it's working or not. So I don't know if I'd recommend it. I probably should have just put some cinnamon in here instead. So I see some people drinking some tea and some other stuff. So I just had to share that. Okay. So I don't see anybody who is said that they are new in here. So let's just jump into something. If you guys want to humor me for a second, I'm just going to take a couple minutes and let you know, for those of you who don't know, because Blester Messi mentioned it and I was going to mention it anyway, is that I got a Kickstarter going on right now. So it's a Kickstarter to fund my Good Necromancer series. We've got 10 days left, and it is funded. We funded in 14 minutes, and that is thanks to everybody who backed the campaign, and I am so grateful. And for like several hours on day one, I was unable to like speak. Like I was just really overwhelmed with energy, and I so appreciate it. And I just want to let you guys know that it's still available. It's to fund hardcovers for this series. And you can also get ebooks, trade paperbacks. It's hardcovers, signed hardcovers. It's for my urban fantasy series. And as part of this Kickstarter, I'm also offering author coaching. So if anyone is interested in grabbing some time on my calendar and sitting down with me, I would love to chat with you, talk through any issues you're having in your writing career. And if I can help and be a resource in any way, I would love to be able to to do that. So that's all part of this Kickstarter. It ends on March 13th. We're going strong. We've smashed through a lot of our stretch goals. A lot of those were smashed through in like the first couple of days. So I kind of had to like come up with new ones. But all the backers are getting some really cool stuff. And I just invite you guys to check it out if you're interested. And yeah, that's going to be fun. I really going to enjoy fulfilling those rewards. And I also want to do a quick screen share to let you guys know about a few other Kickstarters that I think are really cool that if you just happen to be interested in. I don't know if you guys know, my computer's going a little crazy here. Okay, I don't know if you guys know Katie Cross. She is a amazingly successful self-published author. She sells a boatload of books and does some really, really cool stuff. She's got a Kickstarter that's launching a beautiful hardcover edition, deluxe edition for one of her books that's like a 10-year anniversary. So if you like YA fantasy and you like beautiful books, so like you want something you want to put on your shelf, she's killing it right now, and she's doing a really great job. I'm pretty sure she's going to fund. I think it's only been like 24 hours. And yeah, for those of you who know Katie Cross, she gives a lot to the writing community. She goes to a lot of events, and I met her at Superstars, and she's really giving of her time. And so it's really cool to see her project taking off the way it is. There's another project that's really cool. It's called Intergalactic Rejects, Calendar of Fools. And this is a collection of rejected stories from award-winning authors as well as new ones. So if you've ever been rejected in life, or I shouldn't say that. That's wow. Okay, we went way too deep. If you've ever been rejected in your writing, all right, this speaks to me. Like, this is a really cool anthology. It's kind of a really cool thing to be able to see authors keep going, and just to show you, just because editors reject your stories, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't end up continuing and going where you're going. So that's a really cool collection that launches later in March. And then this final one, I'll just say real quick. This is from a small press. I don't know why this keeps doing this. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. All right. So this is Detective Sleuths and Nosy Neighbors. Anybody that likes mystery, it's a mystery anthology, a bunch of short stories on detectives, sleuths. And this is from a press that I've worked with. They've published one of my stories in the past. They treated me really well. And they're really cool because they pay their authors and they take really good care of them. And so if you like mystery, I would encourage you guys to check this one out too. So I'll put these in the in the notes, or in the show notes, so you guys can check those out. And with that, I think it is time that we just go ahead and get into our first session here. So let's see. Yeah, something on my computer's throwing me off. Sorry, guys. Okay. Oh, okay. RG chocolate coffee. What a combination. Yeah, it's not, I'm not feeling it, man. I'm just not, there's just something about it. It just doesn't work. I thought it would be awesome, but yeah, just not going well. So, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to throw a timer up on the chart, or up on the screen, because I can't talk today. I'm going to throw a timer up on the screen. We're going to get some music going. Good luck with all your goals, everybody. And we're going to be back in 20 minutes, and we'll shoot the breeze. So good luck, happy writing, and let's get it done. Okay. Well, how did everybody do? Let me know your progress. So, you guys know what I ask every time and why I ask it. So, I want to know, how did you do in your writing session and how do you feel about it? All right. So, whether you got a bunch of words written, you feel great about those words, you don't feel good about them, doesn't matter. Writing your progress down and expressing your feelings about it allows you to move forward. There's just something about that. And I also believe that, when you feel good about the words that you write, the words are good. But anyway, so let me know how you are doing. I kind of got started and then I get distracted easily. I don't know what it is about things lately, but some emails popped in and it's like, ooh, shiny. So I had to answer some emails. And I'm co-writing a book with a friend right now, and there's some things that came up that I gotta address. So, but still productive. Productive. I'm working on book 7 of my Good Necromancer series. Just started it. So I'm, you know, my goal this weekend is to start that. I started the first chapter, but I want to kind of break bread and get the first 1,000 words. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we had some questions come in. So I'm going to take those questions while we wait for people's progress. So the first question that came in is from Ty. 3 questions. Okay. So if you have a book on Amazon with a KDP ISBN, how do you change it to your own ISBN? Yeah, that's a really interesting question, or it's a good question. So Amazon is a little unique. So Amazon does not actually use ISBNs. They use, well, okay, let me take this back. Let's take this one format at a time. There's Amazon eBooks, and then there's Amazon print books. Amazon eBooks, they do not use ISBNs. They only use the ASIN identification number. So you can put in your own ISBN, and they will accept it, and it will show up when people search for it. But at the end of the day, they don't really care from an ebook perspective. And you can change your ISBN on Amazon eBooks at any time. So they don't really care. Print books, on the other hand, it's a little more difficult. Amazon can provide a copy of the ISBN, which I think you know because it's in your question. You cannot change that once you publish your book. So if Amazon provides the ISBN, Amazon is the publisher of record. And in order to change that, you have to republish the book with your own ISBN. So and that's true of all other retailers too, for ebook and print. So it's kind of a wah-wah. It's kind of the gotcha if you ever want to like publish books under your own ISBNs in the future. I learned that the hard way. I had to recently go back and republish a bunch of my books, and then the old one looks out of print, and it just so you can avoid a lot of that problem if you just do your own ISBNs first. That's answer to your first question. Second question is, if you get a publisher name, LLC or whatever, can you just change the imprint on the ISBN, or do you have to get new ISBNs? Yeah, you would have to get new ISBNs. So this answer applies to people in the United States, by the way. It's different for other countries. But here in the States, you have to get your ISBNs from Bowker. They're the only agency that's licensed to provide them. And when you sign up with Bowker, I believe, I'm 99% sure that you have to, when you buy the ISBNs, you have to buy them under a name. So that could be your name, it could be the publishing company, LLC or whatever. And then once you buy those ISBNs, it locks you or whatever name you enter as the publisher of record. So you can't change that publisher of record later, unfortunately. So you kind of have to think long and hard about, what name you want to put your ISBNs under and how you want to do that. But I would recommend starting a publishing company of any kind, whether it's a sole proprietor or an LLC, and then registering it there. It just makes you look more legitimate. It looks a little bit more professional and just looks a little bit better than if you do it in your own personal name. Okay. I hope that answered the question. And then I thought there was a third question. Let me go find it. I think I just didn't mark it. Okay. Yep. Okay. If you change the ISBN, do your reviews disappear? Yes, they do. The only exception is Amazon eBooks. They don't care whether you change your ISBN. But if you have to republish your book, you will lose all of the previous reviews, which sucks. And I've been through that. It's not a fun experience. So, yeah, changing your ISBN is a huge. Goodness gracious, it's a huge thing. It's kind of like major surgery. Once you have major surgery, it's like, you're kind of never the same, or like there's a risk. It's kind of like that. So just beware of that. And the best time to do it is as soon as possible. Best time to do it is, because the longer you wait, the harder it gets. And then you have the problem that I have when I have like 90 books and have to change it. Okay. Yes, LAG Studios. Have you ever read The Pursuit of Perfection by Christine Catherine Rush? Yes, I have. It's been a long time since I've read that book, but I would highly recommend it. It was a very good book. I've read a lot of Christine Catherine Rush's books. I mean, I've read all of her writing books. She's an excellent fiction writer, and she really gets it. And that's a great book if you need permission to stop being a perfectionist. So yeah, that book has my 100% endorsement. Okay, Deb, editing a manuscript today and drinking tea. Well, awesome. And yes says drinking coffee and petting the cat. Yes, there are the obligatory cat pets that are required. All right, numbers are coming in. Blessed or Messy, 276. Jonathan, no word count, editing, and I'll finish it in the next session. Nice. And yes is 297 words and feeling really good. And Bless says feeling really good as well. And yes says gonna address perfectionism. Yeah, the thing about perfectionism is just remember that it's a bit of a cliche, but it is what it is. It's a good one, and that is that perfect is the enemy of done, and that everything you want is on the other side of fear. And perfectionism, at the end of the day, is really just a manifestation of fear. It's a fear of something that you remember or that you imagine. And you want to try to be perfect so that fear doesn't come to fruition. But that fear is usually unfounded. So you have permission. Go ahead and stop being a perfectionist. All right, Ukweli, got some quality editing done. Feels great. Everybody's feeling good. Awesome. Tracy, 294, feeling great about them. They got me over a barrier I've been struggling with. And that's what we want, Tracy, is just to break through those barriers. And that is fantastic. And I love the avatar of, I'm assuming that's your dog, by the way. And I love, this is spring. So I put the pictures of dog. I've got pictures of animals on every session because it's spring. And I found some really cute pictures of animals. And I was like, okay, I can't not do that. So, okay. And Ty, editing a picture of a chapter of my work in progress, feeling great. It was my NaNoWriMo project. Glad to be back to it. Awesome. And Roland Denzel's in the house. About 100 words in a short story. I find short stories very challenging. Yeah, they can be. The more you do them, though, the better they are. Okay. Let's see. Lou, on a more serious note, I've been looking into these e-ink tablets that allow you to write on them as a dedicated writing device. Any thoughts? I almost did it. I almost bought a Remarkable. And the only reason I didn't do it is because it doesn't integrate very well into like the ecosystems that I already use. It looks like a beautiful device, and everyone I've talked to who's owned one has said it does live up to the hype. The problem is like some of the user update things and some of the software things are a little hinky. And I'm just a little leery. Maybe they've changed it, but I'm just a little leery about buying any device that I can't get my Kindle books on, because that's where I buy all my books, So I ended up buying a Surface, a Microsoft Surface instead. And I liked that because, one, it's got a stylus and I can mark on it. I can kind of do some things. But then two, if I want to read books on it, I can do that. If I want to browse the internet, it's a tablet, it's a computer. It's kind of got everything I need. So, but if it suits your purposes, having that pen on paper feel, go for it. And I'd invite you to let me know what you think. Okay. Let's see. Yes, to me, the major problem was perfectionism. The distrust of the creative process came from the pretentious, snidey attitude that if it's not good enough, why bother? Yeah, and it just goes back to show you that the critical voice in your head doesn't know anything at all. It likes to bloviate, and it likes to tell you that it thinks it knows everything. It knows what's best for you, but it's really just a vestige of our ancestors who, frankly, were terrified of saber-toothed tigers and didn't want to get eaten. But there's no saber-toothed tigers that are going to burst through your wall when you're riding anymore. So you have permission to just go off and be your best self. Okay. Oh, Roland is commenting. You can sometimes change your ISBN, got rights back, and republish and keep your reviews. You have to reach out to the support team and ask to link them. They can say no the first time. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, Roland. That's a good tip. Thank you. So that's a good tip for Ty. That might have saved me some heartache. I wish I'd known that sooner. Okay, and Ty, are there any good videos on creating your own publishing company? I'm sure there are. I'm not aware of any off the top of my head, but I may look into that during the break. Okay, I'll answer one more question and then we'll get into our next session. I have 2 16,000-word length mystery police novellas done. Would you label those at that length as a short story or a novella, specifically on the cover and the description? I would consider those a novella. And the only reason for that is, there's no right or wrong answer, but once you start getting into teens, I think you start kind of leaving the short story realm behind. And that's a long experience. The way I gauge it is, can somebody sit down and read it in one setting or in one sitting? And at 16,000 words, probably not. I think, 10,000 is probably the cutoff for me. 10,000, 12,000, but tomato, everybody has their different opinions, Jonathan. But I probably would label it as a novella. Okay. Well, why don't we jump into our second session, folks, and let's go ahead and get into it. Good vibes out there to everybody, and let's do it. Okay. Well, everybody, let me know how you did. How was your progress? How many words did you get done? How do you feel about it? All right. And there were some questions that came in that I want to answer. Okay. The first question. I wanted to follow up on a question that Ty you had asked during the last session. So I I I have not seen any videos. I know there probably are videos out there about this. I just don't know any off the top of my head. But I did find an article that I had read a couple years ago on Jane Friedman's website, and it's just more of a why you should do it. Some of the long term things. I put it in the comments, so hopefully you can see it. Hopefully you can click it. If not, let me know. But it's a good it's a good article to read. So to follow up on your question, which is why do you recommend creating your own publishing company versus your own name? Yeah, okay. So I'll take this at the 10,000 foot view. I recommend it because it it makes you look more professional as an author if you have a publishing company as opposed to just doing it under your own name, right? So being able to say that you've got a publishing company, I mean, if you want to choose to have a logo, when you publish all of your books, that's going to appear on the publication section of all your books. When bookstores or libraries or anyone who's interested in buying your books looks up your ISBNs, they will see a publisher of record instead of a name, and that just looks a little bit more professional. And it's a good thing to do. Now, there are some other considerations, namely legal and tax considerations that you also might want to think about. So, for example, there are basically three types of author businesses that you can start. The first is a sole proprietor or a sole trader, as they call it in the U.S. This basically means that it's a doing business as. So there is no legal separation between you and your business, but you still have like an actual publishing business, right? So you have all the benefits that I just described. It's just that you get them under a doing business as, right? So it's a really easy to set it up. I think I went to my local county recorder, and 5 minutes later, I filled out a sheet of paper, and I paid like $10 or something like that, and I had a business, and that's how I started, my writing. So that's the easiest to set up. That literally is all it takes. You don't have to do anything other than that. So you and your business are the same, but you have the ability to be able to purchase ISBNs under the name of your DBA, for example. So that's the first and the easiest to set up. It affords you all of the opportunities and benefits of having an imprint, having a publishing company. There's also an LLC, which is a little bit different and honestly a can of worms that I don't want to go into. An LLC can give you a legal separation between you and your business, but there are certain requirements that you have to meet, and most authors probably would not meet them, at least in the United States. All right. So there kind of is not much of a difference between an LLC and a sole proprietor, in my personal opinion, knowing what I know about law and taxes. But that's also not a bad way to go if you want to be able to do that. And then there's a corporation, which that's just a whole nother can of worms. That's something to aspire to down the road. You really only want to think about that when you're making a lot of money. All right. So from a legal perspective, those are the things that you want to think about. From a tax perspective, having a DBA is also not a bad idea. You have in the United States, you have to do what's like called a Schedule C, and that can of worms alert. I'm not going to go down that path, but with your LLC, you have an option of doing a Schedule C or filing a tax return in the name of the business, if I remember correctly. So there's lots of different reasons why you would do an LLC versus a sole proprietor. All that, it kind of depends on your own personal circumstances, how many assets you own, that sort of thing. But though that's the main reason. But what I recommend that everybody do, even if you don't want to deal with an LLC or certainly a corporation, is to just go and start a sole proprietorship. and doesn't cost you anything almost. And you can get started with the benefits, and you can always upgrade to an LLC or a corporation later. You tell me if I answered your question. All right. I know I gave you a lot there, and hopefully I answered it. Okay. Numbers are coming in. Yes, 133 words. Happy with the words I did. And Lou, no words, but I prepped my gear. Blessed or messy, feeling good. I'm in a writing group, but they are on a hiatus this week. When I saw your email, the writing sprints was over the moon. Awesome. Yeah, I was on my game this month. I created the stream. I let people know about it via email. You know, I was on my best behavior this month, so I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here as a result of that. So awesome. Okay, Tracy, 231 words. Happy to be moving along and enjoying the work. Yeah, Jonathan says, I simply filed a DBA with the county clerk, $26 here in Texas. Yeah, it doesn't cost much at all. Doesn't cost much at all. And once you file the paperwork, like you can start using your business, or you can start doing business, which is another benefit. LLCs are more complicated because when you file an LLC, you have to file it with your Secretary of State. And you then also have to have an operating agreement. And you also have to have articles of incorporation, which technically, if you want to do them correctly, you have to have those drafted by a lawyer. There are some templates online you can buy for like articles of incorporation and operating agreements and things like that. But then LLCs have some additional requirements, like you have to have meetings with the officers every year. And now if you're a single member LLC, you still have to have meetings and you have to document those. And then there's some other requirements around just some other little paperworky things that you have to do if you have an LLC that you don't have to do if you have a sole proprietorship. Okay. Another thing about LLCs, they used to be private. They're no longer private anymore. The government makes everybody report who the members of the LLC are. So a lot of people start LLCs because they think that they can hide their identities. You can't do it anymore, unfortunately. LLCs are not what they used to be. Okay, Olkesh, I'm continuing the new ending to a short story, added 1,000 words over the past few weeks, finding ways to make it harder for the main character to achieve their goal at the end. Awesome. And Tish, okay, strongly recommends LLCs. In Texas is LLC Central. Texas is just Texas. Texas does a lot of things. You know, people do things bigger in Texas. Texas LLCs are just another thing. I work in insurance in my day job, and I once encountered an LLC in Texas that had like 100 LLCs within the LLC. So, you know, Texans, they do things bigger in Texas. All right. Tish says, check out Zen Business, my recommendation. Okay, cool. Roland, your take on nonfiction these days. I wrote a book for authors, The Author Brain, but I wonder if it should be everything or several smaller books. Yeah, with nonfiction, I just recommend you do you. I think people do have an app. There's a certain segment of the market that does have an appetite for smaller books, but I think the smaller books is where a lot of the abuse happens. Like I don't think it's I have philosophically, spiritually, I have a problem with, writing a book that contains everything you could find on the internet, on Google, right? And I know most people don't do that, but there are a lot of people who do, and they do it under the guise of smaller books. I think, me personally, the approach I've taken is I try to write a book that is as comprehensive and nitty-gritty and nuanced about the topic as I can possibly make it. And if that ends up being 20,000 words, so be it. If it ends up being 50,000 words, then so be it. But I think it's a service to readers, and it respects their intelligence and their wallets if you give them a comprehensive book that answers all of their questions. Now, there's a time and a place to split things up, right? You don't want to muddle the focus of the book, right? You don't want to muddle the focus of what you're trying to do. But yeah, I'm a big fan of just a one shot, kill it dead if you can. So I hope that answers your question, Roland. Okay, Tish, finished with my last 4 chapters. Thank you. All right. Okay, Ty, good. I'm glad I answered your question. Okay. Yes. What is your favorite story you've written? Oh no, it's an impossible question. Okay, I don't have the worst part about this is I'm on record. People have asked me this in Power Hours, and I don't remember what I said the last time I answered this question. So I 100% am probably going to contradict myself. Just fair warning. Every story is unique in its own. Okay, so I'm going to give you the cop-out answer, and then I'll give you the real answer. The cop-out answer is every story is unique in its own way, and every story teaches me something about who I am and what my views of the world are, and my hopes and dreams and fears at the time that I write it. Right. So I'm not the same person writing my book 7 of my Good Necromancer series as I was, with my Android X series. And that's 100% true. There have been some stories I have written that I think stick out to me just because of the time in my life that I wrote them. Probably the one that jumps out at me was Old Dark, the Last Dragon Lord, book 1. And the only reason for that is because that's the first book that I ever wrote without an outline. And so I learned a lot about myself in writing that book, and I learned how to trust myself, how to trust like my creative spirit. And maybe it's not so much about the story as it is about what I learned, but that one jumps out at me. And then all my other books jump out at me too. So, okay. Jaden, have you ever had a book translated? If so, what was the process for that? I have had a book translated. I wouldn't recommend going through the way I did it. I took the impatient route to translation, and I enjoyed working with my translators. I used a service called BabbleCube, and it was fine. It was easy to use, and the translators were great. But I really saw no sales from it, and I wouldn't probably use the service again, even though it was a really good service. It's not throwing shade on the service, but I think ultimately, if you're going to pursue translation, you want to do it on a book that has social proof and that is already selling really well in English. If your book is not selling very well, I would not pursue translations. Okay. Yes, in response to your answer to Roland, in my experience, the only one universal advice that applies to everyone 100% is just write. Absolutely. And, okay. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yes has read Old Dark. Really good. Well, thank you. Hey, I got a few people in here who read Old Dark. That's cool. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you, Ty. Ty's read it. So a few people have read that story. So, that's my official answer as of Saturday, March 2nd. Somebody's going to ask me this question again on June 3rd, and I guarantee you I probably will give you a completely different answer. So that you can almost set your watch by that. Okay, so I'm seeing things die down a little bit. So why don't we jump into our third and final session, everybody, and we will get into it. So we'll come back and shoot the breeze and celebrate all of our successes. Talk to you soon. All right, team. We are there. We are at the end here. So here's what I want to know. I want to know what you got accomplished today. So you can give me your total word count or the totality of what you did if you didn't write. And then I know how all of you are feeling right now, so that's all good. But I want to know, what is your goal for the rest of the weekend? What do you want to accomplish for the rest of the weekend? Because as you know, if you verbalize your goals, if you write them down, you're more likely to achieve them. So this is really just an exercise to help everybody out and reach your goals. So let me know. And then let's see here. Let's see what questions have come in. Question from Elvis. Do you write to market? Yes and no, Elvis. I do not. I write to market in the sense that I try to write stories that are an intersection of what readers know and love and feel familiar in the genre, and what is an expression of my own self-expression. And I don't always do the best job of it, but when I do, I'm in that sweet spot, right? And so it's a bit of a compromise sometimes on my self-expression, and it's a bit of a, hey, trust me, for readers as they jump onto the page. But that's just how I roll, and that helps me sleep better at night as an artist. Now that said, I don't write to trend. So if, for example, hockey romance is hot, and I don't like, I mean, I just don't have any connection or affinity with hockey romance. Well, of course, I wouldn't write a hockey romance, and I think that's the trap that a lot of people fall into, is they want to write to trend, when really writing to market is really just about finding a genre that you enjoy, a genre that readers enjoy, and you take your best shot. So if you're interested, I did create a course. It's a little dated now, but the information in it is still good. It's just that it's a bit older in terms of audio video quality. I did a course. It's called Write to Market Without Selling Your Soul. You can check it out at authorlevelup.com/write to market. It's priced affordably. That's got a lot of my philosophies around how I do things. Okay, let's see. All right. Hey, Jonathan, done. The first Clint Hollister novella is ready for the proofreader. It's a great name, by the way. Okay, question. Michael, can you briefly talk about your experience with Book Sirens? Yes, yeah, I've had a great experience with Book Sirens. I used them a couple of times for various books that I have published. Book Sirens is a review service, and they provide readers for your book in exchange for an honest review. And what's great about them is that they are copacetic with the Amazon and other retailer terms of service. Because what you're doing is you post your book on Book Sirens, and they've got a community of avid readers who want to read books, right? And they want to read books for free. And you post your book and your cover and your book description, and they browse through it. And if they happen to see your book and like it, then they will download it. And you only pay when they download it. They do not have to leave a review, but if they do leave a review, then they will review your book on Book Sirens as well as post wherever they read. And I found that Book Sirens really gives me some quality reviewers. I've got some great reviews from the service. I actually met the owner, had a quick chat with him around a few things, and I really like what he's building. And Book Sirens has my full endorsement. And I think I have a referral link for them. I think it's authorlevelup.com/Book Sirens. They're great. They're absolutely great. There's another service that does the same thing. And I recommend that you use both, and that's Booksprout. And Booksprout is a very similar concept. They have a few more marketing tools as well, but Booksprout kind of will also help you get reviewers. And if you're new to publishing, or you don't have a big audience, I think they're even more important, because that helps you get your first couple of reviews, get some credibility, that sort of thing. Okay, so yes, Book Sirens is great. Okay, yes, LAG Studios, 254 words. The goal is to keep writing my heart out. Yes, and keep doing that. All right, Jonathan, goal for the weekend, try to get closer to finishing the first draft of the second Clint Hollister novella. Nice. Okay, Ukwele and I hope I'm saying your name correctly, pronouncing your name correctly. I was able to edit the majority of my short story. My plan to complete editing the story and start working on the next story before end of the weekend. Nice. That's a good goal to have. Okay, around 700 goals plus editing. My goals are to move away from cozy book writing and write a few articles. What are your goals, Michael? Well, thank you for asking. My goal this weekend is I need to get, so I've got 500 words in my book 7 of my Good Necromancer series. I tend, when I first start a novel, the novel tends to be a bit on shaky ground because when I have to write the opening, and the opening is critical. And I usually go over that a couple of times to make sure that it makes sense thematically for what I'm trying to do. And then I'll write, I'll keep writing. And the novel doesn't really feel stable for me until I get to around, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 words. So it's kind of because I feel like I'm constantly going back and making sure, you spend way more time in the first 25% of your novel than you do anywhere else. At least I do. So that's my goal, is to get this novel on stable ground so that I can then start running. And I haven't dictated in a while. So one of my goals is I think I'm going to get my voice recorder out today and get back on the wagon. Okay. Ty revised 2 chapters, hoping to reread and will help me get through the murky middle. I plan on being consistent and getting 200 to 500 words a day. Awesome. Tracy, 785 words total. My goal is to keep going today and finish the scene, finish the chapter this weekend. Well, good. I know you can do it. And Lou, 49 words this session. I have some free time left, so I decided to write a bit while eating lunch. And now I'm drinking an orange Powerade. Sounds good, actually. And yes, I intend to complete my first novel soon. Okay, Jaden wrote on paper, so I don't know the count, but I'm outlining the next major part of this novel, a few chapters down. Cool. Yeah, however you want to write is all good. So as long as you're feeling good about it, that's what matters. Deb, what do you think of Books AI? I don't know anything about Books AI. I have not heard of them, so I don't have an opinion. I'll take the name down and take a look at it, and maybe you can ask me in the next Power Hour. Ulkesh, I finished the revisions I was doing in my short story, now putting the story through Pro Writing Aid. Then it'll be ready to submit to science fiction magazines again. Nice. Yeah, that's good. Just get it out there to the magazines, see what the magazines say. And, they don't like it. Who cares? Publish it anyway. Okay, yes. What do you think is the greatest killer of potential writing careers? Reading Pursuit of Perfection, and she says critics are a disservice to writer careers. Well, certainly critics are absolutely a disservice. There's no bones about that. I think the biggest killer of writing careers is the writing mind. I honestly think that writers get in their own way and they self-sabotage their careers in ways that they don't understand that they're doing it. And one day they wake up and they're not writers anymore. That's, to me, self-sabotage is the biggest killer of writing careers. And, I talk a lot about fear. I talk a lot about understanding your why and why you're a writer. And I do that because I've talked to a lot. You would be shocked how many writers I know who I started with who are no longer writers. And a lot of those writers were 6-figure writers. Like they found success, lightning struck, and now, they're not writers anymore. And to go back to Elvis's question, a decent amount of them became successful because they wrote to trend. And they wrote what was hot because it was hot and they needed to pay the bills, right? And then they woke up one day and realized, I don't want to write this anymore. I want to write something else. And their readers didn't follow them because they were used to a certain thing and they had to start over again. And then the writing became an existential crisis. Where you don't ever want your writing to be is an existential crisis. If you find yourself, leaning into existentialism, that is a red flag. You got to stop. Red lights flashing. Danger, Will Robinson. Back the car up. I'm going to torture as many analogies as I can. Writing should be fun. It should be joyous. It should be challenging, but not existential. Right. So I'll say this, and I'll end with this comment. We writers are sensitive and emotional people because that is what's required to do this job. You can't write characters that connect with readers if you yourself are not emotionally empathetic and sensitive on some level that is different than the rest of the population, right? It's required to be able to do this job. But the downside of that is that because we are emotional and sensitive people, we are emotional and sensitive people, and there's a lot of downsides that come with that if you don't do the emotional work to understand yourself and why you feel the way you feel about certain things. And it's just an occupational hazard. That's my answer to your question. Okay. I'll get off my soapbox. Okay. Ulkesh, for the rest of the weekend, I need to read and provide feedback on a story for someone in my writing group. Well, that's really a really nice thing to do. That's a cool. Blessed or Messy, thanks for sharing your goals. What do you think about writers using AI? Yeah, I think writers really should think about it. I think that the use of AI, whether you want to do it, is a deeply personal decision. And there's always some element of me touching the third rail when I answer this question, but I think that it's not going anywhere. I think that we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think a lot of people have looked at the AI art conversations and the ethical quandary that OpenAI and other companies who have created a lot of large language models have stepped into in terms of getting data off the internet for free, not compensating people for it. I think all that's legitimate. I think all of it's valid, and I think people are right to be upset about that. But I also think you shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think that there are a lot of use cases for AI right now that don't have any sort of ethical with them, but can be helpful to us in our careers. AI editing, for example. I talk about a tool called Draftsmith all the time and how useful that is. ChatGPT is actually a pretty capable copy editor. It's a pretty capable almost everything. It can help you really nail down research. It can help you with beta reading and all these sorts of things if you are willing to learn how to do it. AI art, for all of its its ability to invoke anger in people, actually can do a really good job with marketing materials. So there's lots of opportunities out there, and I really believe the saying that AI is not going to replace you. A person using AI will. So if you don't want to be replaced, look into using AI and learn how to use it. And that's all I'll say about that. I am probably due to do another video on the state of AI right now. I did one last year where I talked about this very thing. You could look it up if you haven't seen it, Blessed or Messy. And I probably need to do another one of those videos this year, just talking about my updated stances on AI and some of the advancements. Okay, Tomorrow Kiddo, goal is to update my Substack with Signals accountability and getting back into the daily practice. Yeah. Routines are everything. Lou, I don't have a goal for the weekend because I don't know if I'll or when I'll be needed out here. And there's going to be weekends like that. That's okay. Oh, yes. Okay. That is what your book helped me understand. The joy of writing is what returned. That's awesome. And Tomorrow Kiddo, I love and appreciate your advice. Well, thank you. Okay. Let's see. AI is a great editing tool. Yes, it is. Not a replacement for an editor by any stretch of the imagination. If people hear that from me, then they heard me wrong. But definitely it has helped improve the quality of my stories. 100%. Yeah. Yes makes a good point. The ethics of ChatGPT's origin are bad, but the tool itself is wholly neutral and really useful for certain tasks, such as editing, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's so many useful things that ChatGPT can do that are outside of the realm of writing. I mean, just in general, it's just such a useful tool. My daughter was studying for a spelling bee, and I used ChatGPT to kind of help quiz her a little bit and give her different words and things. And it's just if you can imagine it, these large language models can certainly help you. I like to call them as like running partners. They're really helpful in having a sounding board. Can't believe it's been a year. Yes, it has. And things fly by. Like with AI in particular, a year is like a decade. It really is. Like if you look at like just Midjourney, the different AI art, different AI art generators, like where they were a year ago, some of the faces and things they were generating were the stuff of nightmares, and now you can't even tell if something's AI generated or not. And AI video is kind of having a moment right now where some of the videos that AI can create is, oh my goodness, like just absolutely stunning. So there is a lot out there. Okay, Ty, do you need to go have the word publishing? Do you need to go have the word publishing or press in your publisher name? Oh, do you need to have the word publishing? No, you don't. You don't. There's lots of, yeah, it should be whatever is meaningful to you. So if some people put publishing in there, some people put press in there. You certainly could if you wanted to. Some people use the word media. Some people use the word books. It's whatever you want. I mean, you probably do want to signify in some way that it is a publishing company. Like you probably just don't want to call it like Gnarled Tree. You probably want to call it Gnarled Tree Books or something like that. Or I've seen some people name it after themselves. So you could do, your name media, for example. So yeah, completely up to you. Okay, Roland, I hope to finish this short story this weekend. Awesome. Awesome. Well, good luck, my friend. And yeah, okay. Just going through, I'll give it another second here just to make sure I get everybody a chance to ask any questions if they want to. Okay, while we're doing that, I want to let everybody know the next Power Hour will be Saturday, April 5th. So April 5th, we'll be back at 10 o'clock Central time, and we'll do the same thing. I'll have new pictures, and I am, like I said, I'm on my behavior now, and I will be sending out an email at least a few days in advance for people. So if you're not on my email newsletter, you can sign up at authorlevelup.com/fan club. And I will include that. I've started to send monthly newsletters again. So if you're on my newsletter list, I'm not, I'll let you know about some things I'm doing for sure. But ultimately, I kind of want the newsletters to be more advice and more helpful and practical. And so including the Power Hour in those, I think just makes sense. So if you want those notifications, that's a great way to get them. Otherwise, you can just mark your calendars for April 5th, 10 o'clock Central, and we will be there. So I'm not seeing any more comments come in, gang. So we'll go ahead and end for the month. I wish you all of the best with your goals for this weekend. Good luck with all your goals for the month, and I'll see you in April. Peace.